As with boxing, when it's at the elite stage, you can't play
necessarily striving to win. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I told you. It's WWE. Okay? This is WWE, like I told you.
Multiple reasons. One, they have a huge size difference. Tank Davis, he's a lightweight, normally fights at 135 pounds. And Jake Paul, he's a cruiserweight, usually fights at
As with boxing, when it's at the elite stage, you can't play games without necessarily striving to win. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I told you it's WWE. Okay, this is WWE. Like I told you, this is crazy for multiple reasons. One, they have a huge size difference. Tank Davis, he's a lightweight, normally fights at 135 pounds. And Jake Paul, he's a cruiser, usually fights at 200 pounds.
Floyd Mayweather confronts Jake Paul over the no-knockout rule in his upcoming fight with Gervonta Davis. He argues that Jake is only focused on selling the event and turning it into entertainment rather than real competition. Floyd believes the fight lacks seriousness, but admits both fighters understand what they are stepping into. He insists that true boxing should be about skill and competition, not staged rules that turn it into a show. But like I said before, they know what they're doing.
Both brothers. Wade Plemons on X stated, "I think we all knew this would be an exhibition, but the Florida State Athletic Commission saying they will display skill without necessarily striving to win, using strikes and blows to the head or other full contact maneuvers, probably isn't the best to advertise the fight. Lol. Plemons is known for his sharp takes in boxing."
And here he criticizes the Athletic Commission for weakening the perceived intensity by emphasizing that fighters won't be aiming to win through full contact. His comment suggests that for fans who expect a boxing match, such framing undermines excitement. Floyd Mayweather has always thrived on competition, even outside his official career. Analysts now believe his decision to push for a fight with Mike Tyson is not just about money, but about pride and positioning.
The upcoming clash between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul has stirred a wave of publicity, and Floyd seems determined to prove that no one, not even his protege Tank, can outshine him in the spotlight. By setting up Floyd versus Mike, he ensured that the world's attention would shift back to him, with his fight overshadowing the spectacle of Jake versus Tank. This is classic Mayweather strategy. Stay relevant, control the headlines, and show that his name still carries unmatched weight in boxing culture. Now that there's so many celebrities and so many people that are known, where you can get somebody and they can sell tickets to events, that's what kicked off the social media influence boxing that Jake Paul was birthed from. Now we're in a vacuum, and so there's going to be a lot of conversation about that and continuing to do that. In this particular video, though, I want to get into the mind of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and why Floyd Mayweather Jr. would do this. There is the money, but there's also the competitive nature of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and him not wanting to have other people think that they're a bigger star than he is. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has not been able to really launch his star outside of the sport of boxing, so he continues to do exhibitions. Now, what I think is that Floyd Mayweather Jr. has announced it at this point in time with Mike Tyson, and in order to take advantage of the publicity heading into the Gervonta Davis-Jake Paul fight, which is, I do believe, set for November. So now that they have all the publicity and all that stuff coming out from that, he's going to piggyback on it and then try to have it in the beginning of next year sometime and actually make it a bigger event than Gervonta versus Jake Paul. And it probably will be. And the reason that I say that is because of Mike Tyson. At the heart of the matter lies the issue of legacy. Mayweather, retired and undefeated, has nothing to lose from his exhibitions. For him, it is purely financial and reputational maintenance. Jake Paul, still new to the sport, uses these spectacles to build his name. But for Gervonta Davis, the decision cuts deeper. Every fight he chooses at this stage shapes his career trajectory. By prioritizing entertainment over competition, Davis risks damaging his standing among purists who want to see him tested against legitimate contenders. The question becomes, is short-term fame worth the long-term consequences? Whether what is going to happen in that fight is basically the same thing as what's happening to Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, except for that is a live action fight, that is a real competitive fight, but the marketing of it is the same thing. And the fact that somebody is going to pay for it is more likely with Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mike Tyson than it is with even Jake Paul and Gervonta. But I think that it really is an attempt to compete with Gervonta Davis by setting up a bigger fight than Gervonta Davis is having. Now, I'm going to tell you this something else, too. I would not put it past these people. The Tank versus Jake Paul fight might have been enough to dominate conversations, but Floyd's move ensures that the boxing world cannot ignore him. For decades, he has mastered the art of drawing attention to himself, even if it meant stepping outside traditional boxing rules. His latest maneuver demonstrates his competitive edge. He refuses to let anyone, including Jake Paul with his celebrity status, or Tank Davis with his prime form, become the central figure of boxing's current era. By signing the fight with Mike Tyson, Floyd essentially positioned himself as the main act again. The sheer nostalgia of Tyson's name, combined with Floyd's undefeated legacy, makes this a storyline far more marketable than Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. The controversy surrounding Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis lies in the fact that the fight is not sanctioned as an official boxing contest. The commission's refusal to approve it as a professional bout means it will only be an exhibition, a show, rather than a true competitive clash. Critics argue this brings the fight closer to WWE-style entertainment, where the goal is not victory but spectacle. With no knockouts expected and no official stakes on the line, many see the event as a marketing gimmick rather than a legitimate fight. While this may generate short-term buzz, it dilutes the authenticity of boxing in the eyes of purists who crave genuine competition. We'll face Gervonta Davis in an exhibition match. Quote, "You can't do a fight like that as a pro fight," Shipman said. "It'll be an exhibition fight," end quote. Similarly to the concerning location move, he states that the main reason for this is the significant weight disparity between the two opponents. An exhibition is defined by Florida statutes as a boxing, kickboxing, or mixed martial arts engagement in which persons participating show or display their skills without necessarily striving to win using strikes, elbows, blah, blah, blah. So the key word here is, key phrase, snorts, show or display their skills without necessarily striving to win. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I told you it's WWE, okay? This is WWE. Like I told you, these are setup fights. These are rig fights. I know Jake Paul gets upset when people say he ain't a real fighter and all that stuff, but I think the Mike Tyson fight pretty much showed everybody that, Mike was pulling back on his punches, and it just was weird to me. You know what I'm saying? Now you got Gervonta Tank Davis getting ready to sell his soul to go up in here and move around the ring with Jake Paul. I don't know what's going to happen on this. I don't know. But regardless of the fact, the fight is going to do well because it's going to be on Netflix. So everybody got Netflix, so everybody going to watch the fight. So it's going to be like a wrestling event, basically a fake scripted fight. Former world champion Paulie Molina has been particularly vocal about his frustrations with the Jake versus Tank matchup. He insists that knockouts only hold value when they come against real, evenly matched opponents. In his eyes, manufactured setups like this one cheapen the sport. He also believes that Jake Paul is being given undeserved credibility by participating in events that carry spectacle but not substance. When he debated with Chris Algieri, Paulie pointed out that casual fans might be entertained, but true boxing enthusiasts understand that this fight lacks the integrity of real championship bouts. His words strike at the core issue, authenticity. One of the primary reasons this matchup cannot be considered a professional fight is the significant weight difference between the two men. The Florida Commission was clear that such a wide disparity creates unfair conditions and risks the safety of the fighters. For that reason, they only approved it as a sparring session with a predetermined framework for decision-making rather than a sanctioned fight. This decision highlights the structural limits of boxing as a sport. Entertainment can only go so far before regulations intervene. The fact that this had to be reframed as an exhibition underscores just how unorthodox the matchup is. This knockouts, dude. Knockouts. People like knockouts. They don't care if you're knocking out cab drivers. Look at Jake Paul's career. You can manufacture that, though. You can't manufacture to a degree. You can to a degree. I mean, yeah, Gervonta legitimately cannot get knockouts. I agree. He can punch, but there's a lot of limited knockout artists, though. Man, he's one of the least active punchers in the game with the highest knockout percentage of current heavyweight. But if he was a real knockout artist, prop him up against the best of the best. Fellas trained, that was a knockout artist. He was knocking out the best of the best.